Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are taking a deep dive into something that has become a yearly ritual in gaming, the Game Awards. The night that is supposed to celebrate the best of gaming, honor incredible developers, and bring the entire gaming world together for one giant celebration of everything we love. But as the show has grown, so have the cracks. And every year the conversation gets louder. Are the Game Awards still about honoring the craft? Or have they become a 3-hour commercial break with some trophies sprinkled in? Today we are breaking down the good, the bad, and what absolutely needs to change. Everything from the history to the controversies to the 2025 nominations, and why this year's slate is already one of the most debated in the show's history. So let's start from the beginning. The Game Awards, led by Jeff Keighley, launched in 2014. Before that, there were scattered attempts at mainstream gaming award shows, but nothing really stuck. There was the Spike Video Game Awards, which were fun but often felt like a parody of themselves. Lots of jokes, questionable hosting, moments that were more awkward than iconic. The Game Awards promised something different, a night that treated gaming with the same respect that film or music gets on their biggest stages. A show with live orchestras, big reveals, world premieres, and a global audience. And for a while, it worked. The show did something no one else had done. It created a central gathering point for the gaming industry. It made being a developer feel celebrated. It made fans feel connected to something bigger. It became a yearly moment that united the entire space. And to be fair, this is still one of the strengths today. The Game Awards does bring the industry together. It does give smaller developers some spotlight, and it absolutely delivers hype with its trailers and announcements. But somewhere along the way, the balance started to shift. As the show expanded, the criticism followed right behind it, and year after year, the same themes kept popping up. First, advertising overload. This one is impossible to ignore. The Game Awards has become packed with ads. Ads for games, ads for hardware, ads for energy drinks, ads for movies, ads for whatever wants screen time. There are years where the awards themselves feel like an afterthought. Whole categories get rushed, rapid fired, or announced off screen just to make room for another world premiere trailer. And fans notice, developers notice, even critics have called it out. The show tries to be two things at once, a hype event and an award ceremony. And those identities are constantly fighting each other. Second, bad category definitions. Every year, the categories spark debate, especially the infamous indie category. We have seen mid-sized studios with publisher backing get labeled indie. We have seen games with budgets larger than some small studios' entire yearly salary get nominated as indie. The result is confusion and frustration. Independent developers often feel overshadowed by games with far more resources. Meanwhile, players question why certain titles are even allowed in certain categories. Third, snubs and oversights. This is another yearly ritual. Fans see a critically acclaimed game get completely ignored or relegated to a single small category. It happened again this year. More on that in the 2025 section, because that is where things get real spicy. Snubs create a credibility problem. When a beloved game is missing, people begin to wonder if nominations reflect quality or marketing muscle. Fourth, perceived industry bias. Because the Game Awards is deeply tied to publishers, marketing teams, and big industry players, some feel like the event leans toward whichever studio can generate the most visibility. Now, to be clear, this does not mean every nomination is shady or rigged, but perception matters. Transparency matters. When people do not understand how decisions are made, distrust grows. And fifth, rush speeches and developer treatment. There have been moments where indie devs get 30 seconds to speak before being cut off by the orchestra, while celebrity cameos and ads get way more time. This fuels the argument that the show is becoming more spectacle than celebration. The 2025 slate is already one of the most controversial lineups in the show's history. Let's talk about the biggest headline first. Claire Obscura Expedition 33. A historic 12 nominations, Expedition 33 has become the most nominated Game Awards title ever with 12 nominations. 12. That is insane. Now, some of this is deserved. The game is gorgeous, the art direction is stunning, the action RPG combat system is refreshing. Critics praised it heavily. But when a single title dominates to this degree, it always creates backlash. People start asking questions. Did it overshadow other deserving games? Did it get pushed because of hype? Should one game be allowed to sweep this hard? It takes us back to the argument about balance. Recognition is great, but diversity matters too. Category confusion hits again. The RPG category is once again all over the place. You have massive AAA RPGs against smaller hybrid titles that barely fit the label. You have games nominated that do not clearly match the mechanics of the genre, and you have indie confusion again. Some titles nominated in the indie category are being called out for having too much backing or too much publisher involvement for the indie label to feel truthful. This year in particular, the divide between small devs and big devs feels larger than ever. And the snubs of 2025. This is where players get real fired up. Certain beloved indie releases that had huge buzz online, great reviews, and massive word of mouth momentum did not appear on the slate at all. Some smaller devs have even spoken out publicly saying they feel ignored, underrepresented, or treated as an afterthought. This is not new, but this year it is louder. Community trust is eroding with trailers dominating airtime, categories feeling messy, and marketing influence hovering over the show. Fans are increasingly asking, is this still an award show, or is this an ad event with trophies? People still watch because the industry is hungry for a unifying moment, but fans are more critical than ever. It is not all doom and gloom. There are things the Game Awards does genuinely well, even in 2025. It brings visibility. A single nomination can change a developer's life. Even being shown on stage can give a small game national attention. That really matters. It unites the industry. Also, the shared experience, the reveals, the surprises, the reactions, millions of people watching together. It is one of the few gaming moments that feels like an actual worldwide event. The production value is still incredible. The orchestra, the staging, the music medleys, the world premieres. The show looks and feels big. Even when the pacing is messy, the energy and presentation are still some of the best in the industry. If I were running the Game Awards, here is how I would fix the biggest problems. 1, create clear category definitions. Indie needs a real definition, not vibes and not smaller than AAA. RPG needs clearer rules. Action needs clearer rules. Everything needs clear guardrails. Bring in actual genre experts. Let them define criteria. Make the process visible. 2, reserve slots for small studios. Guarantee indie titles their own spotlight, not as an afterthought, not as filler. Give them the time and space they deserve. 3, add more transparency. Show us who is voting. Explain the weighting. Explain how nominations happen. Transparency builds trust. Right now, the process is too opaque. 4, cut back on the ads. People understand the need for funding, but the pacing can be fixed. Make the awards the centerpiece. Make the trailers additive, not overwhelming. 5, allow real speeches. Let developers talk. This is their night. Stop rushing them off stage while letting celebrities ramble. 6, add a developer tribute segment, something that honors the reality of making games, the crunch, the passion, the struggle. Gaming needs its creators honored, not squeezed between ads. 7, celebrate innovation, not just polish reward risk-taking. Reward weird ideas. Reward ambition, not just budget. Some of the greatest games ever made were made by people who broke the rules. The awards should reflect that. The Game Awards is still important. It still has the power to unite. It still has the power to uplift. It still has the potential to be the Oscars of gaming. But with great influence comes responsibility, and the show is at a crossroads. Does it want to be a celebration of games or a marketing spectacle? Right now, it is trying to be both, and that tension is becoming impossible to ignore. Developers deserve respect. Small studios deserve fairness, and gaming deserves an award show that honors the art, the craft, and the people who pour their lives into these worlds. So what do you think? Is the Game Awards still carrying the torch, or is it drifting into something else entirely? Drop your thoughts and let's talk.